The Grand Forks Police Department and other public safety agencies have recently started using unmanned aerial vehicles to assist in putting an end to crime. In Grand Forks alone, the technology has been used in 13 different cases. As the technology becomes increasingly popular, the FAA is setting regulations for these agencies and individuals using the devices commercially. UND Professor Alan Fraser is here to discuss UAS regulations for public safety agencies and hobbyists. Thanks for being on the show with us today, Alan.
You're very welcome, Avery. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. So to start off, how did you get involved with UAS? I mean, what was kind of your background before you came here to North Dakota?
Well, I was a police officer before I came here. I retired in 2010 from a large law enforcement agency in Southern California and wasn't ready to give up on working, and was lucky enough to get a position here as a professor at the University of North Dakota.
That's great. Then how did you get kind of involved with UAS if you were coming here to teach?
Well, there's a research expectation for professors here at the University of North Dakota, and actually a couple of office mates that were near my office were involved in UAS, and I was looking for a topic to research, and we just started chatting about it, and they mentioned that they thought there were lots of opportunities for the use of small unmanned aircraft in law enforcement, and thought that it might be a good fit for me. So that was the impetus of the research.
So do you just kind of, do you specifically work with the public safety or law enforcement, or what do you work with?
My specific piece of the pie, if you will, is the law enforcement aspect of it. I mean, we have quite a bit of UAS research going on here at the University of North Dakota. My portion, though, is in public safety.
Okay. So what exactly do they use these technologies for here in public safety?
Well, we have a collaboration. It's actually a three-way collaboration between the University of North Dakota, two UAS manufacturers. It happens to be a Canadian company, Dragonfly Innovations, and an American company, Aero Environment, out of California. And then the third partner is the Grand Forks County Sheriff's Department. And the three of us worked together to complete the research, but primarily we started off identifying some partners, and then we selected pilots and sensor system operators and did quite a bit of training, did all of the paperwork that we needed to do with the FAA and get permission to fly. And now we're actually in the third phase of the research, which is the actual deployment of the aircraft over actual law enforcement incidents.
Wow, and you guys have used them 13 times, is that correct?
We have, yes.
Can you give me an example of an instance maybe that these would be used?
Absolutely. One that we used it on, maybe about 6 months ago, was a fatal traffic accident that was on Columbia in front of Altru Hospital. And we were called there by Grand Forks Police traffic accident investigators who wanted to get an aerial perspective of the traffic accident, which would help them recreate and determine what the cause of the accident was.
That's a useful tool then, I suppose.
Very useful, yeah. In fact, when we got there, the fire department had responded, and they were setting up a snorkel truck, a large ladder, to try to take similar photos, but it's much easier for us to utilize a small unmanned aircraft. We could get a variety of different angles and altitudes to take still and video of it for the investigation. So very, very effective, and we did it in about 15 minutes, so it doesn't take much time at all to gather that.
Oh, that's fast. So what, I mean, I know that law enforcement here uses it, but does Border Patrol use these devices then too?
The Border Patrol does, yes, in 4 different locations here in the United States. One of them happens to be Grand Forks. They have some aircraft that are Reapers, MQ-9s, that are based at Grand Forks Air Force Base, and they patrol the northern border with those aircraft to try to detect smugglers, essentially, coming across the border, and then send ground units to interdict those smugglers.
And they use them down south as well?
They do, yes. They have some based in Cape Canaveral and some based in the southwest of the United States as well.
Okay. So what is being done to regulate these devices here in North Dakota, or locally, I suppose, even at the University of North Dakota?
Sure. Well, I don't know that I would really call it regulation, but it is a level of control and oversight, if you will, and it's a healthy level of oversight. Here at the University of North Dakota, there is a committee. It's kind of a long name. It's the Unmanned Aircraft Systems Research Compliance Committee, and that's 15 members strong, and those 15 members represent a variety of different backgrounds. So there's faculty members, there are staff, there are public safety members from the Sheriff's Department, the Grand Forks Fire Department, and the Grand Forks Police Department, and there are citizens at large on that committee as well. And so any type of flight, UAS activity that is flown in conjunction with the University of North Dakota must be vetted and approved by that committee. So my particular research project was vetted by that committee, and they ended up approving 5 different mission sets that we were able to go out and fly.
Whoa. So what do they do in the United States then as a whole? Are there any kind of regulations set by the FAA?
There are, yes. The FAA maintains that even though these are small aircraft, I mean, we're talking about aircraft with 36-inch wingspans. To the casual observer, they would appear to be remote-controlled model aircraft. The FAA maintains that those are aircraft that are subject to their regulation. And the way that they are now regulating them is through a process called a certificate of authorization. And that is an online application process in which a public agency, a governmental agency, would provide quite a bit of information to the FAA about the type of aircraft, the mission, the qualifications of the crew, the geographic area that the aircraft was going to be flown, and then the FAA reviews that. It goes out to air traffic control facilities and safety people in the FAA, and then if they feel that the operation could be conducted safely, they give us approval to do that.
All right, great. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're very welcome.